Why in the good blue hell do you have a team in Georgia below Oregon?
Blake, them not having a pass rush is a real problem. I like this Georgia team, and I really, really, really think that this Georgia team has the ability to get to an SEC title, and I really think that they have an ability to accomplish that by just outscoring teams. And by the sheer fact that their secondary has some talented defensive backs like they did against Ole Miss, that late in games they can make a couple of plays in a shootout and win. It is going to be really stressful for Georgia fans, but there's a path to success there. If we're comparing teams, though, and we're ranking them, like they had 0 sacks against Ole Miss. They can't get pressure without manufacturing it. Guys that are getting sack production for them are linebackers. They have the blitz. They can't get home with 4. That's a problem for a Georgia team. And I think it's even bigger problem that we haven't even talked about this. They're a team schematically on defense that has historically succeeded off of not having to send pressure that they could rush for. And I don't think that Schumann knows how to adjust. And I'm not trying to call him inept and a bad defensive coordinator. He's a tremendous defensive coordinator. I think he's out of his element because they didn't expect this to happen. And they don't know how to end up adjusting in order to produce those pressures in order to play better defensively. They have good players, man. They're just not getting the job done. I have pause, and I'm a little bit worried, and the Ole Miss game gave me that worry.
What has Oregon done against teams that can match their talent level? What have they done?
Can you be a little more specific on what teams
Penn State going into double overtime in Indiana. What have they done?
They've played those teams close, but they have made the necessary clutch plays late in those games to win.
No, they haven't. They lost to Indiana. They didn't make the clutch plays.
One did against Penn State,
which is a 3-3 football team at the current moment. Georgia has one thing that I don't think anybody else in the country can say at the current moment. They have a loss where they couldn't come back, but they have 2 games where they were completely dead in the water, and their quarterback led them back to win. They do have flaws. They have massive flaws getting after the quarterback. There's no doubt about it. It's going to bite them in the ass. If they play Ohio State, quite frankly, if they played Indiana, I think it does bite them. I don't think it bites them against Oregon. Because quite frankly, I got to be real with you. One thing I know about Georgia is they're going to line up that rock and they're going to run right at you, and there's nothing that you're going to really do about it. If they are not inept defensively and they're able to get some stops here and there, Joe, this Georgia offense has been pretty damn good. It doesn't look good on paper, and people don't want to talk about it because they run the football a lot. They get tight ends involved, and they're not sexy. They're in a huddle. They're getting out of a huddle. They're going to a line of scrimmage in 12 personnel, and they're running it right down your throat. Ask Ole Miss. There's no way that I'm taking Oregon over Georgia on a neutral field today.
I disagree.
Because I think Gunnar Stockton is outplaying Dante Moore at the current moment. I think Dante Moore is a better prospect. Don't get what I'm saying twisted. He's outplaying him at the current moment. And I think when we talk about some of these very minute details, these very finite details, I look at Oregon and say, man, yes, you got a lot of talent, but man, you're young on offense. Joe, they're having to rotate freshman running backs in there. Their best wide receiver right now is DK Moore, who is a very talented and going to be a great player. I don't know if you're going to be able to overcome what Georgia can throw at you defensively, to be honest with you, because if Penn State can do it and lock you down in moments, why can't Georgia?
I disagree with that because I think that Oregon's defense has the talent, and they have talent that is.
No, I'm talking about their offense.
Wait. I'm responding to both things. I think that they have shown in their 2 close games, even though they lost to Indiana and in the win that they had against Penn State, that their defense is fast and physical and they can make some really big plays. And I think on the other side of things, I think that their offense, despite its youth, has also shown a lot of explosiveness. The thing with Georgia, Blake, is that they have been very inconsistent this year. As much as I agree with you about Gunnar Stockton, I think that Gunnar Stockton is one of the most overly criticized quarterbacks for absolutely no reason in college football. I see the kid make nothing but clutch plays and put his body on the line to help his team win. But the problem that I have talking about them is that since the Alabama game and in the Alabama game, they have not been consistent on offense. They couldn't finish drives against Alabama. Against Auburn,
5 points.
Alabama, they only scored 21.
No, you said after Alabama, they haven't been
Wait,
scored 43 points.
No. Let me finish what I'm saying.
Okay.
They couldn't finish drives against Alabama. Auburn, they couldn't score for most of the first half, and then suddenly in the second half, that was when they were able to produce, and they were having trouble running the football. Georgia, yeah, they had a tremendous game. That was more of an example of, Ole Miss was more of an example of what we knew that they were capable of doing. They ran the ball well. There were a lot of big plays from Gunnar Stockton through the air. He's 26-31 passing, all of those things. That is the inconsistency, though, is that we go from a team looking like they can't run the ball, they can't move the ball through the air when they're challenged by a somewhat solid defense, and then the minutes that they get the chance to play a ass secondary like Ole Miss is, of course they tear them apart. Or not ass secondary, it's more of their run game, but of course they were able to tear them apart in that game because Ole Miss's defense is not very good. Look, fine, if you want to keep leaning on Oregon doesn't have a lot of impressive battles with good teams that they've looked really dominant in, I get it. But when we're just comparing the consistency measure of this, I see issues with Georgia's offense at times, and they don't have a pass rush. And I don't know if that's something that's going to not hurt them in the playoffs.
I don't like the consistency thing because the two teams that I saw that talent-wise can do something, they go in double overtime does Oregon, and they lose the other. At least Georgia's 2-1 in the games where they got challenged the most. Actually, 3-1 in the games that they got challenged the most. I think that Auburn defense is legit. I don't think that's an indictment at all.
I don't think that it is, but at the same time, if your offense is supposed to be so elite, you should be able to overcome.
And Oregon's is
a team like that.
And
I think Oregon still has the top defense. Or are you talking about their offense? What do you mean by Oregon's is?
Oregon's offense is dominant. I mean, cute. You were able to do it against Oklahoma State. Sounds great. You go up against the two most talented teams and you lose one, and you go up against a 3-loss Penn State team. They also can't move the football.
They could move the football against Penn State, and they did produce enough big plays to win that game and to win it in overtime. I don't think that
the football is what I'm saying, and they couldn't move it against UCLA.
Penn State. Okay, now we're starting to run down the string.
I'm just saying, how can you look at Oregon and say, all right, I've seen them go against two opponents and they kind of looked really sloppy. I've seen Georgia.
Really get sloppy though. I think this is just tough game.
You lost and you went into double overtime with a 3-loss team. Yes, that's called sloppiness. I look at Georgia and say, okay, you lost one of the teams against one of the games against Alabama that we both have at either 2 or 3. And then you go on the road to Tennessee, and then you got Ole Miss, and you're able to win games against opponents that are better than Penn State.
Is what Georgia did not sloppy, though?
No, but they're winning. And they're going up against better opponents when they do it.
Okay, like how tough
they're finding ways to win.
How tough of an opponent is Kentucky and Auburn in that span?
Oh, I don't know.
Wait, hold on. And we've learned.
Ask A&M, who also couldn't score on Auburn.
This Auburn team doesn't have a win in the SEC. Every SEC team can't be good. Every SEC team can't be good.
I didn't say that they're good. I didn't say that they're good. But you're talking about Georgia offensively not moving the ball. John Mateer couldn't do it. Marcel Reed in the most explosive offense in the SEC couldn't do it. This Auburn defense is legit. So if you're going to talk about, the Auburn game and them going into Jordan Hare, you know what else? Oregon couldn't go into Happy Valley and then beat them in regulation on a 3-loss team.
Penn State defense is equally as talented, if not more talented, than Auburn's. Their
Joe,
struggles have been
they got
more
the
related to
same
their team
record.
quitting.
They have the same record.
Penn State would if Drew Aller hadn't gotten hurt, Penn State beats Auburn.
I don't give a shit if he would. No, you know how you can't make that statement? Because you had a winless UCLA team that you went on the road and got your shit pushed in on.
Blake, but again, you could sit here and agree with me here that Penn State's problems have been the result of that team quitting and has nothing to do with the talent on that team. The defense
quit on
at home,
and you're going to double overtime.
Is equivalent, if actually is better than the Auburn defense.
End of argument. Dan Lanning has been taught everything by Kirby, and Kirby gets his ass. Where Kirby can't beat Bama, Oregon can't beat Georgia. End of conversation.
I don't agree with that. I don't think that just simply ends.
It's literal science.
It's not science. I just think that we have to continuously reframe the context of what a team has done. I like the Georgia team, man. I do. But why am I suddenly buying in after the Tennessee game, after Tennessee's shown troubles? Why am I buying in after the Ole Miss game?
Why are you buying in against
now?
Why are you buying in against Notre Dame when they have 2 losses against top 10 opponents too?
We're not talking about Notre Dame. We're not talking about Notre Dame.
You do that, you pick one specific SEC team and you say,
no, I don't.
You literally have done it 3 times. You said the same thing.
We're talking about SEC teams. We're talking about them. I have to.
Then do somebody else. Then do somebody in reference to why is your buy-in for Notre Dame here then?
The buy-in for Notre Dame.
Here we go.
Wait. And again, this has nothing to do with the conversation that we were just having. Notre Dame's performance, and by the way, I don't like that you're trying to make me come out like I'm a homer in this situation because you're asking me.
Okay. I'll give you another team. You ready?
Give me a different team.